Jimi Hendrix.
Wait. Ow. Wait. Are you a doctor?
Well, I'm more like a vet.
Welcome to the Regular Menthol Podcast, where we discuss Kino movies. My name is Tate. My co-host here is Chris.
Hi.
We give a little thoughts on the movie, our experience, then we discuss specific scenes that we like, followed up with a Kino rating. Chris, how the hell are you, bud? I feel like I never talked to you until this, and then it gets so real.
I'm doing well, man. It's been pretty crazy couple weeks. My cousin hit me up on Thursday this past week. Was like, "Hey, man, what are you guys doing this weekend?" He's like, "I'm kind of passing through." Yeah, come on in. He just basically just put him up for the weekend, him and his girlfriend, which is fun though. They went out in Philly, checked everything out, went to a game.
The big game.
They went to the big game, had a blast. So it was good to see them. Mm-hmm. And then, man, just been locking in commercial shoots. Had one last week. I have one this Friday. Some auto place, and then I had an audition tonight for Hers Chips. So hoping to get that 4 for 4.
I love where this is headed, dude. When we first met, you were heavily involved in the commercial game, the acting game.
Yeah, man.
Could we see a resurgence?
I don't know, man. It's just supplemental income at this point of my life, but it is always good to get a gig and get some extra money, Not complaining.
They're looking for Chads again.
Right. It's gone full circle. There's a lull in advertising, if anyone's noticed. I don't know, in that 2016 to 2020 era. So I didn't get a lot of work. Anyhow, what's up with you, bud? How you been?
Dude, I got rear-ended on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, it was a blast.
How'd that work? Did they have insurance? Because a lot of the times they don't have insurance.
They did. A nice young woman from Glenside. I feel like
How'd you handle that?
Who she's related to.
How'd you handle that?
Well, we're married. We got married. My car seems to be all right. I'm okay. Mentally, physically. I got people Friday night leaving work. Some dude trying to run me off the road on the turnpike.
Jesus.
Almost zero. Are they coming after me?
While you're cozy,
do they not want to hear this podcast?
While you're cozy maxing in the regular lane, you got run off the road.
Full disclosure, I was actually not cozy maxing when this happened.
Oh boy.
I was in the left-hand lane.
Oh boy.
But we start talking about cozy maxing on here, and they're gonna send agents after me. They're gonna stop me, Doug, from cozy maxing at any cost.
You're going against the playbook.
Look, they're sending their agents after me. I know it.
Anyhow, anything else go? I mean, did you get that buttoned up?
I got my car in the shop.
Jesus.
Precautionary. I've been driving it around. It's just like nothing wrong with it as far as I can tell, but you never know.
That's a good precautionary measure because you don't want something popping up later when it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, like she hit me and then I hit the guy in front of me.
Oh, geez.
But it was kind of like super light.
Yeah. What was her excuse for just being on her phone besides being on her phone?
She didn't really have one.
Okay.
She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I'm like out of it, kind of.
What if he just
like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, see ya.
Well, at least it wasn't a bad one. Anyhow, so we got a movie to discuss. What is this movie?
The movie that we're discussing this week is The Island of Dr. Moreau, which came out in 1996. Holy smokes.
Yeah. So this movie, well, give me a description on this thing first.
I had to kind of think about a description here for this movie. A man crashes his ship in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and is surviving on a raft. He's picked up by Val Kilmer and taken to an island run by a disgraced madman geneticist. The island is full of human-animal hybrid creatures. The creatures figure out how to take their electroshock devices. It's been keeping them in line, and they decide to revolt against the madman. A bunch of people are killed, and the man builds a makeshift sailboat to sail back to England.
Whoa. Wow.
Now, there's not actually a lot more to this movie than what I just described.
Well, the thing of it is we do a lot of movies. We love a lot of movies that are just so insane. You know, like The Room or something crazy. Like they're so bad it's good. To me, this is not that. Okay. This movie has like a 4.9 on IMDb. And that's blasphemy. Blasphemy. Yeah. I love this movie, dude. I don't care.
I think I'm gonna wind up disagreeing with you on this, but
oh boy.
We'll get into it.
Did I just pick this movie and you didn't give a shit about it?
No, I'm well versed in this movie, but okay. I like this movie.
Okay.
But I guess my whole thing with this is, everything that happens. It's like we're given an incomplete version. We're given, we're not getting the Snyder cut.
Okay.
Of the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Okay, fair enough. But spoiler alert, which we're going to get into probably the bulk of this movie review, is so much crazy shit happened on this film. It shouldn't have even existed. I mean, this is right up there with like Apocalypse Now. Shouldn't have happened. I would say worse. So the fact that this movie even made it to theaters, and I actually think it's decent. I mean, I don't know anything about movies, I guess, but that's a hell of a feat. If you ask me, let's get into some of the backstory of this movie. What do you got?
I mean, I'm watching some of the behind the scenes type stuff that's available on YouTube. You know, the kind of DVD extras stuff they put on there.
Yeah,
and I just noticed there's this part they're interviewing this guy Scott Ross, the CEO of Digital Domain. It just made me think of these old digital kind of movie making companies that existed in the 90s and everything. Like he worked with ILM and LucasArts before creating this company. And so he's this big like Hollywood graphics guy. There's only a couple scenes in this movie where there's this digital graphics going on,
right?
But it just makes me think about how like back then it was so new and exciting. Oh my God, there's guys, they're doing digital graphics. Like they must have been paid like stupid amounts of money for just a handful of shots.
Yeah, the opening scene is that kind of what you're referring to?
There's a scene where the leopard guy takes off.
Yeah.
And they took an actual cat and took the cat's movements and just kind of superimpose this hybrid creature over it, and that's what it looks like on screen.
Yeah, there's another one where the chick, when she's turning into a cat, she jumps up. It just seems kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Anything was possible, though. Oh my God, we're in the future. We're living in the future,
right?
In the mid-90s.
I mean, we're only 4 years off of Y2K when it all resets.
And it makes. I mean, I probably always ran about this, but it does make me think about things like Black Panther came out in 2016 or something, and the last scene from Black Panther was such abysmal CGI that even when watching it, I was like, wait a second, Terminator 2 came out in 91 and is infinitely better than the CGI in Black Panther.
How does that work exactly?
How is that possible?
Great question. That's not
anywho.
We'll get to some of this stuff, but kind of a side note, our buddy Ryan told me about this documentary about this movie, specifically Lost Souls. Anyone listening, if you get a chance, you have to watch this. Lost Souls, the whatever making with who's the director of this thing?
Richard Stanley, I think.
Yeah, Richard Stanley. It's the story behind this entire movie and all the madness, which we'll break down a little bit of, but if you get a chance, watch it. It's so entertaining and hilarious at the same time.
One of my things about this movie is that the real story here is that.
Exactly. Yeah.
The real entertaining thing is this backstory to this movie.
Right.
Like, I'd almost say watch the documentary instead of the movie itself, because the documentary is like way.
They're on par with each other. To me, they're on par with each other. Anyway.
But I'm watching this and I said, "Oh my God, it's a runtime of an hour and a half."
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw that.
This is one of the shortest movies that we've reviewed.
It's true,
and the subject matter needs way more time
Yes.
to kind of flesh out these topics, right?
Well, I think I remember from the documentary that he had like 4 hours or 5 hours of film that he wanted to initially have it be. And they were like, okay, no, we're just going to chop this down because this is just not working.
Yeah. And you could tell.
Yeah.
I'm watching this and I say, this is not a real story. This is a hodgepodge of scenes kind of thrown together.
Yeah.
Why do I care about any of these characters? Who are these people?
Right.
Right. That was my takeaway. And I was like, oh my God, it's an hour and a half. There's not enough time here, folks.
No, that's a good point.
Like, I don't know what you think about Marlon Brando as an actor or anything. I'd be curious to kind of hear your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of his older stuff when he was younger was great. Everyone knows him for The Godfather, which, you know, that was, I think, pretty much that was the beginning of the downfall with him, where he just stopped caring because he was kind of calling out Hollywood for a lot of stuff. He did that thing at the Oscars where he didn't accept his Oscar. So by his final years, this movie, Apocalypse Now, he just was checked out. So he's just he's fooling around at that point. Plus he had like 11 kids, and I think his son shot his daughter's boyfriend and killed him. So this dude's got a lot going on. But to answer your question, yeah, his earlier movies, back when he's like this young Chad, he ruled.
That's I'm kind of he's. When you think of Marlon Brando, he's this big, fat, bald guy.
Yeah.
Right? He's in Godfather. He's in Apocalypse. He's in, this. He's this big guy. But back in the day, he was basically the gigachad of Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's kind of wild to see a transformation like that.
Yeah, but this is long ago, dude. Long ago.
You see yourself a resident gigachad of the podcast? Do you see yourself going the route of becoming the size of Marlon Brando, though?
I would hope not. I try to take care of my body, but I mean, who knows? That's possible. Yeah, but I feel like even if you see pictures of him even in his, I would say probably his 40s, 50s, he still looks kind of normal, I think. But then he just takes a hard fall, dude.
I mean, you can kind of tell in this movie, we'll get into it, but he kind of checks out almost immediately. And you're like, this is a guy that's checked out of life.
Oh,
he
my
does
God.
not care.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this picture in 1972, Last Tango in Paris. He looks normal. Then it just goes off the rails, and he's completely insane. So between 72, that, and 79, Apocalypse, yeah, there's time in there where he just goes completely insane.
Oh, yeah. And another thing that I found quite interesting, I would say, is this movie is based on a book by H.G. Wells, who was friends with Joseph Conrad. Joseph Conrad being the author of Heart of Darkness. Now, after Island of Dr. Moreau comes out, Joseph Conrad releases Heart of Darkness. H.G. Wells then starts accusing him of plagiarism, saying he based the character of Kurtz on Moreau.
Did not know that.
Now you can see where I'm going with this.
Well,
Years later, Heart of Darkness is used as the basis of Apocalypse Now. And who plays Kurtz in Apocalypse Now? Brando. And very similar to this movie. He then gets cast as Moreau in this movie 20 years later. And it's a very similar acting style. He shows up completely insane. Another difficult set to work on, right?
It's basically there. It's so funny you say that because, like I just mentioned in the introduction, Apocalypse Now and this film were considered two of the worst films. Not just because of Brando, but just two diabolical sets. And of course, both of them, he shows up overweight and not taking it very serious. Like he basically in this movie, he's just like an albino Kurtz.
Yeah,
that's it. He's an albino Colonel Kurtz in this movie. So, like I said in the opening, there's so much lore behind this movie. Like we'll try to touch on some things, but probably just talk about the funniest. you can't cover it all. I mean, the documentary itself, I think, is like 2 hours, but that's probably why it's a big part. Big part of why it's on this list. So, despite all the insanity that went into this movie, again, I think it came out to be a pretty good movie. So, I'll preface it by saying that. That being said, first time you watched this movie, do you recall?
100%. I know where I was exactly. Now
It's pretty wild.
This is a recurring theme of just me saying the same thing every week, where I was just sitting on my couch watching it with my dad, which is true. That's what was happening. But specifically, I remember going to the video store with him.
It's pretty wild.
Orland Video, independent video store, and him talking to the clerk, like, "Oh yeah, well, like this says Brando in it, so
it's got to be
get
good."
This.
Dude, you're doing this Orland plug every week, and they're probably not in business anymore, correct?
They've been out of business for like 30 years. It's insane. The
But
greatest
I love the plug.
store ever, though. It was so cozy. It was just, I love the independent video store because you get
so good.
real people in there working, talking about this.
They
stuff.
love the shit. They love it.
They love it. And this is one of the first times where I was like, oh, this is a bit, because I'm used to watching good movies a lot with, my dad and everything. He'll just bring me all these good movies. And this is one that just didn't hit. And I was like, oh, wow, they can have a big budget Hollywood movie and it's not good. And I was like, I think halfway through, I was like, I'm just going to go out in the kitchen, hang out with Fluffy or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And my dad had this similar thing where he was like, I don't really like this movie.
Interesting take. Okay. Fair enough.
But I remember, because, this is a flop.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the sentiment when it came out where people were like, I'm not into this.
Yeah.
So it's funny coming back watching all this stuff now.
See, I was like 9 when this came out, and I vaguely recall watching on TV pretty much every movie. It's just like, I just happened to see, I don't know if it was like sci-fi or something. But yeah, man, nevertheless, it's just, this movie stuck with me because you have these like werewolf things. And again, dude, being 9, 10 years old at the time, I'm like, this makeup and these costumes, I think, okay, say what you want, but the last scene, for example, when Hyena is in his face, it's like, you can see like the kind of mouth move, like that 90s, whatever that is, animatronics or whatever it is, but I think it looks pretty damn good for 1996, okay? So me as a 10-year-old watching this, I'm like, all right, this kind of slaps. Like this is very entertaining. This is insane. They're on this island, which is really cool. They're shooting guns. Val Kilmer's going out of his mind on drugs. For a 10-year-old, I'm like, all right, this is pretty entertaining. But
yeah.
When you go back and watch it and you kind of have an idea of what they're trying to accomplish, and you know all the pitfalls, and then you're like, okay, this is the end product. I like it. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, it's certainly impressive that they pulled this off. And I've absolutely, the costume designs, the creature effects are unbelievable. They're so good in this movie.
I think so, man.
That's a shame of it, too. It's like, they put all this crazy effort into making this. And for what ended up happening, it's kind of a shame. Because, I mean, no fault of the creature effects guys. This is Stan Winston. Absolutely just insane talent. And that's like, you don't have that stuff in movies anymore.
No.
It seems like
No.
you got CGI.
No, they keep the lighting just dark enough for the majority of the scenes that you can get these costumes coming off looking like what a hybrid of a man and, a hyena would look like. Right.
Yeah.
It works. Anyhow, who's this literally me character for you in this insane film?
Montgomery is absolutely a vibe, dude. And I don't think he gets enough love, this character.
Yeah, it's good.
Montgomery belongs in the pantheon of literally me characters, I would say.
All right, fair enough.
It's just Val Kilmer, just look like the peak of his powers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And just smoking cigs and
looking militant.
Wearing, these crazy like safari outfits.
Yeah.
Just chilling. and then he goes crazy later in the movie.
Yeah, we'll get into his drip later, but it's pretty awesome, pretty peak. I'm gonna go with Dr. Moreau. Okay,
yeah,
minus owning my own private island, doing experiments on humans, and hating sunlight. But aside from that, we're kind of the same.
Just like the vibe of his jovial nature in this movie.
Yeah, dude. Like, that's exactly what we'll get into that. But dude, he is just so, you can just tell how much fun he's having with this movie, and we'll get into just the personalities and what's going on screen that is clearly visible. But just one thing I want to point out: David Thewlis, great actor.
Yeah,
this guy, and I'm gonna throw this out there. This guy dealt with a ton of shit, and the guy follows through, gives it his all, and pumps out a great portrayal of this character. I thought he did great.
Consummate professional.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to. I mean, this guy, he rules. He's definitely in our group of our guys, and he's in a ton of stuff. I didn't even think about it. He's in Big Lebowski.
Yep.
He's one movie that I don't really care for. Wonder Woman. He's in, but his role, it's like he's the only good part of it. He plays Ares,
okay,
but he plays it so well. You're like, oh, is this a good movie that I'm watching? No, it's not. It's Wonder Woman. But anyway,
speaking of our guys, how about our gals? Fairuza Balk, are you craft pilled?
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely craft pilled. I'm scared of witchcraft.
Dude, it's so funny you say that. Honest to God, growing up, I don't know. That was probably what year was The Craft? Would you say?
I don't know. Somewhere from like 95 to 97.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. It's right in the same. So I'm 10 years old, right? I see this movie and it's just a bunch of chicks, but I'm like freaked out because of the the levitating and just the witchcraft aspect of it. I'm on the couch watching the new Alien show, and Lindsay's like, doesn't this, because I'm not a big scary movie person. I'm kind of a scaredy cat. She's like, doesn't this like scare you? I'm like, no, not really. I was like, it's just aliens, right? So I can't do the contortion and like the ring and all that shit. So being 10, I will admit to The Craft spooking me out, but I did recognize that they were all hot.
Interesting take. Because normally we talk about, is this woman hot or not? And it's usually
she's got this. I would say it's more her personality and her character portrayals that make her. She gets over. Put it that way.
I'm down with the goth mommies. Goth mommies hit me up. I need a goth wife. She's in The Waterboy.
Yeah. Veronica Vaughn.
Great role in The Waterboy. She just rules. I'm down with her.
Yeah,
I think she's hot.
She's good actress. Wears her heart on her sleeve on roles. Just very, very good actress.
We talk about like, what is this movie actually about? And I'm watching this movie and I start getting uncomfortable somewhat because of some of the themes. And I'm like, it's kind of weird watching this. Really, there's questions of like animal cruelty and what it means to be human come up, because this guy Edwards, what's his name? Edward
Douglas.
Yeah.
They go by his last name, Douglas.
Edward Douglas, right? He is like out walking in the jungle area, and all of a sudden this dude comes up to him, and it's this creature. Now I'm thinking to myself, like, if this creature came up to me and I had a gun on me, I would just shoot him. It's like a Bigfoot creature or something,
right?
And it's like, but then it made me think. I'm like, but this is a human. This is supposed to be a human being, but is it? It's some kind of weird hybrid. And then I start coming like, do we have less empathy for these creatures because they're not actually human? But some of them act more human than others. And it's like, what constitutes being a human? And do you act more kind to these creatures because they're human?
Well, yeah, for one, they can talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It would freak you out. I know that.
100%. And then I'm like, wait a second, dude. Like, think about when this was written. Like, was this movie canceled when it came out? what do you have here? You get a old white guy who's running this island full of these beast creatures.
Right.
Okay. Now, this could be portrayed as like borderline colonialism, racist type stuff, right?
Mhm.
What's the hidden meaning behind this? And I'm like, this is kind of uncomfortable, this movie.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the whole animal cruelty thing. I don't think it was as popular in the 90s, looking at some info here. But I hear your point. I mean, very possible.
Okay, let's get into some fun facts for the movie.
All right, so this is my typical, I've been trying to add some fun facts. This is just some wild shit, okay? This week. It's just, bear with me because there's just a lot going on. Richard Stanley, okay? The original director. He spent 4 years of his life. This was like his baby, right? Developing this movie. Guy gets fired after 4 days of filming. Like, you can't make this up. It's wild because they said that he couldn't control Val Kilmer on set, which apparently he was just completely insane on all his movies, which obviously you can tell. Also, there was a hurricane that hit the set and basically wiped everything out. And the studio at that point was like, all right, that's the last straw. We're done with this guy. But he was at the time, which is weird because he was known at the time for his low budget cult like movies. And he was doing a bunch of music videos was how he got a start. And the studio didn't think he could handle a big budget film. So begs the question, why didn't they determine this before they greenlit this film? They just give this guy his money and it's like, okay, just go for it.
It's funny because like preparing for this, I watched the movie and I watched the documentary.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's all this question marks on this director from the New Line Cinema.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like they were like, we don't know if we're going to go with this guy or not. And do you know what happens? He meets with Brando. Brando is initially not into him at all. And then he meets him at his house and he charms Brando so much. Brando goes, I'm not doing the movie unless it's with this director.
Yeah, now I remember that. I remember that because I saw.
How crazy is that?
I had read that Brando apologized to him afterwards, and so did Kilmer at like the rap party. And apparently he just, was quiet with Kilmer. And he never accepted Brando's apology after the words. And he tried to like send him a gift or something. And that stuck with Brando for like the rest of his life. Because Brando knows art, man. He's like, dude, this was it. You know what I mean? And I guess that's why Brando showed up when it was Frankenheimer was directing.
Yeah.
And he just kind of dicked off and just totally, you can just see it in the movie. He's like, I'm going to make these guys pay for what they did.
Yeah. And well, Brando, I guess, showed up late and at that point didn't read the script.
Yeah.
And the one woman was saying like, hey, what's our character's relationship? He's like, let's not worry about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. This script sucks.
I remember that. Yeah.
They're already paying us. Like, who cares?
Dude.
And it was like, at that point, like, all bets are off. Like, he doesn't even care anymore.
Yeah, it was Fairuza Balk that said that. But yeah, so it's, you can just imagine him going to bat for him and just being like, screw this production. I'm just going to totally torch it. But he did leave, apparently. I don't know if it was how far into filming it was, but his daughter committed suicide. Brando. So he left the set, and that's that.
And then
he
it was
eventually
like,
came
back.
They didn't know if he was coming back. So it's pretty wild. But speaking of Frankenheimer, this is a guy who's directing action / drama films. Talk about bringing in the wrong director. See, that's the thing about. You talk about in prior episodes, right? These studios taking a risk. That's the problem is you're taking a risk on this guy. He's a very, like our buddy Ryan is a director. He's got a very specific vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about it is these studios get real corporate and they're not willing to take a risk on these type. Like this guy could never get hired. There's these guys like this in Hollywood. And they have these ideas, but they'll never get hired.
Right.
The studio can't take a risk on this type of movie. I know we say this all the time, but
there's some, because it's not just about having a vision and everything. It's also, can you do the job? Can you corral all these moving parts and get it completed too?
Right.
Now, could this guy have done that? Perhaps. But they weren't confident that he could do that end of the deal.
Right.
Right. So, that you're right. It gets real corpy. It gets real corporate up in here.
But the best is apparently so Stanley would somehow get back onto this set because he befriended like the makeup artists and stuff. And he would have them make him up into one of these costumes that had a full mask, and he would just be on the set every day, kind of watching things go on, like hiding in a tree and shit. Dude, like, let me just tell you how much you could not do that on the current set. You can't get away with that, dude. They're micromanaging everything, but I just think that's hilarious. This like multi-million-dollar set. This guy just gets on as an extra.
New Line Cinema was going to pay him his amount.
Yeah.
His fee. But one of the stipulations was you have to stay like 50 kilometers away from the set.
Yeah.
So they get this guy to drive him to a restraining order. They get this guy to drive him to the airport and make sure he gets on the plane. And like the guy just drove him to the airport or whatever. He doesn't get on the plane. He just goes back and starts living with this like hippie commune.
Yep.
And it's like, this guy, for everyone like listening, this director who we're referring to, Richard Stanley, he looks like Vampire Hunter D from the anime. He's wearing a duster. He's wearing this fedora hat. It's
like an Australian kind of outlaw hat.
He's out of his mind, dude. Yeah, he's totally nuts. So he just like leaves the airport and just finds his way back. And then, sure enough, finds his way back on set. Like, dude, that's so crazy.
This was his baby, man. He's stopping at nothing.
Yeah.
That's when you're, dude, 4 years of your life invested in this thing. I mean, you're just going to get on a plane.
He's in the movie. He is in the movie. In fact, I think I do believe it's the pig that has the two kind of horns coming out. I'm pretty sure that's him because that's the one that covers his face. And I think they said he got decent screen time. Anyway, but talking about the whole calamity of this, let's get into some of this casting, the main characters. Brando was supposed to have a much larger role, but again, like I said, because of his daughter, he left production, never told him when he's going to return, just shows back up, completely unhinged, refusing to learn his lines, coming up with insane variations of the movie, which again, we'll get into. But, like I said, man, this is just an albino Colonel Kurtz with a little more personality. You know what I mean? And I like you had mentioned, his jolly attitude throughout it, it just comes off so like apathetic. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
It's so good.
One thing I'd like to mention though, too, that's revealed in this documentary is towards the end, they mention Brando is so out of his mind. He doesn't even care about this movie at all. Mm-hmm. He wants to rewrite the script to make Dr. Moreau part dolphin at the end.
It's like
a big reveal at the end.
If you get a chance,
he takes off his hat and he's a dolphin.
Yeah. If you get a chance, watch the documentary because just that scene alone, that clip of the way Bob Shaye describes this, I guess he's like a producer on it. Apparently Brando hated him so much that he told Frankenheimer, let's mess with Shaye, right? He's like, he doesn't know shit. You know, I have better ideas on the movie. I think Moreau at the end of the movie should be wearing this hat the entire movie. And then at the end, he takes it off and it's revealed that he's a dolphin. Bro, talk about this dude is just trying to mess with them this entire time. It's so good. Genius, Brando. But again, I mentioned about Richard Stanley being fired. This is all just the chronology of people moving around, main characters, if you will. Richard Stanley being fired by Frankenheimer. Bruce Willis was cast as Douglas initially, but dropped out because of production because his divorce proceedings with Demi Moore. Mm-hmm. Gary Oldman was approached for the role of Montgomery, but was in rehab. Val Kilmer was hired to replace Willis, right, initially. But before filming began, he demanded to work 40% fewer days than he had scheduled. So then he was changed to the role of Montgomery, right? displacing James Wood, who was the original Montgomery. Are you following all this?
Yeah, this is wild. I mean,
Completely
the
insane.
amount of moving parts.
Oh, yeah, dude. So when Kilmer was moved to Montgomery, Rob Morrow was hired to play Douglas. Morrow quit after 2 days of filming because of the script rewrites and horrible working conditions. Again, they had a monsoon come through and just wipe out the entire set.
Rob, I mean, holy smokes. You saying like Rob Morrow, I'm like, oh man, Rob Morrow. Where do I know that guy from? Like,
yeah,
dude, Northern Exposure, this show that used to be on like an old sitcom and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, huge fan of Northern Exposure. Huge Rob Morrow guy.
The only huge Rob Morrow guy on earth, besides Rob Morrow. Maybe the funniest of them all has to be, this is in the documentary. You have to watch this. Again, the documentary, for the name of it, it's Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Moreau. So you have Marco Hofschneider. If you see his face, you probably recognize who he is. He was replaced as Moreau's assistant by Nelson De La Rosa. Now, Nelson De La Rosa was the shortest man on the planet at the time. Okay. And the only reason that he got replaced was because Brando saw him for the first time and how small he was. And he like fell in love with him and just like have him like dance and do stuff. So he's like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this unless he's my assistant. And they're like, all right, dude. Frankenheimer's like, I don't give a shit, dude. Sure. Go for it. So you think about
they start giving him the same costume and everything.
And yeah, then it basically down to the piano when he's playing piano, they had to bring all this stuff in, and it was actually the genesis of Mini-Me, the character from Austin Powers. That was the origins of it. But dude, you just think about like this guy's got an agent, Hofschneider, and it's like, yeah, sorry, man, my hands are tied. The studio's just like, they're just going to move you down to a different role. And, yeah, this guy's because of Brando. Like, just think of how insane that is.
Yeah, man. Like I was watching the movie and I'm like, you could totally tell that this whole thing was jacked up.
Oh, dude.
Because that guy is a much bigger role. You could tell he's a much bigger role. And then he just gets zero screen time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like his name's, I think, is like Amway or something. And I think he has maybe like 6-7 lines the entire movie.
Yeah.
I think. Mei Ling.
Although
the name's Mei Ling, is the character name.
It kind of works though, because the little guy is so funny. And Brando's makes mention of the fact that he's like, listen, this is just going to work because just look at this guy. He's just absurd looking. Like they mentioned this in the documentary, and I'm like, I'm listening to this. I'm like, yeah, I think he's right. I think it does work because I mean that scene where Brando is playing this grand piano, and on top of the grand piano is a little mini grand piano with the guy sitting on top of that playing that, and I'm like, this is kind of an incredible scene.
Yeah, I mean it's so funny because that inspired a lot. I wouldn't even say. I mean. That inspired Austin Powers and Mini-Me, Dr. Evil. But that became like an actual pop culture reference, right? And no one really knows that that's the origins of it, which is kind of funny. But speaking of, let's get into some of these Kino scenes, man. Right away, we just get hit with Val Kilmer, who's Montgomery, with an athletic elbow wrap. Did you notice that? Like when he has the rabbits and it's just like this blue wrap on his arm. Like what in God's name is going on with this? Like I always just look at character accessories because if I'm doing something, I'm like, okay, I think this would be a cool accessory. Like it's going to be on screen, so you kind of want to. It's like this blue Ace athletic wrap kind of thing on his arm. It's what? Well, I looked into
no explanation.
I looked into it. It checks out. It turns out that he had elbow bursitis. It's kind of like this visible thing, and it was from breaking his arm on the set of the Doors movie.
Okay.
But just like the first thing I see, I just noticed little shit like that. I'm like, why is this dude wearing this like basketball player elbow wrap thing?
Yeah, you can kind of get the impression based on what we're hearing about Val Kilmer on this set that they're like, okay, so, what are we going to do here? And he's just like, listen, I'm just going to wear this wrap.
Oh, dude, I get into his drip in a little bit. We can talk about it. But I'm under the assumption that this guy just did, that anyone just did whatever the hell they wanted. And he's like, all right, well, I'm just going to kind of wear whatever I want. No big deal.
Right.
No one's going to stop me. It seems to me that there's little authority on this set.
Zero.
Right.
Zero.
Frankenheimer doesn't even want to be there, dude.
Yeah.
How quick can I wrap this up?
Each other. And like it shows too. I mean, this scene in the beginning, Edward Douglas is recovered, gets on the island and everything. And he and Montgomery are talking. It's so awkward between the two of them. Mm-hmm. To the point where you're like, what is up with the two of these guys? Why are they so weird towards, like, this guy just saved your life out in the ocean, but Montgomery is acting so weird. There's long pauses. They have this 10-second stare after Montgomery says something vague. You know, and Montgomery puts a flower in Edwards' shirt.
Yeah.
I'm just unsettled by Montgomery here, like, for no reason. If I was watching this not knowing anything about this documentary or on-set behavior or anything, I'd be like, what is up with this character? Why is this so weird? And I don't think there's actually a reason for it. I think it's just Val Kilmer being crazy.
Well, to be fair, I think, and I didn't notice this till I continued to watch this throughout, but his character is supposed to be, he was a doctor or some shit, and he slowly becomes unhinged from being on this island. So you can see how he starts off as fairly normal, and then obviously he references the drugs that he's given to the animals or whatever, humanoids.
Yeah.
By the end, he's taking it on himself and he's going completely insane.
I guess like one of my problems is these characters aren't fleshed out at all.
Well, yeah.
I don't understand the motivations behind anyone. Why am I supposed to care about any of these people? I don't know anything about them. And then I'm just thrust into these guys just being weird and awkward, staring at each other. Whereas if it was me in real life and this guy just saved my life, he's like, you got to come on this island though. And then he's saying this stuff and just staring at me. I'm like, I'd be like, okay. And like, when are we getting off of this island, dude? Can we go back to England now? You know?
Right. But if you caught the way that Douglas speaks to him, now I'm going to defend this movie tooth and nail. If you catch how Douglas speaks to him, he says about how he killed an animal once, or not killed an animal. He had his animal die due to neglect. He's like, I'm sorry to say. Mm-hmm. He's very proper, right? So
for sure, yeah.
He's not going to be like, hey, dude, why are you being so weird? That's just not who he is. Right? Does that work?
I could see that.
Yeah, fair enough. But anyway, you get hit with this, he walks in, Douglas, to this, I don't even know what it is. What is that thing? This chick giving birth. There's like these kind of weird legs.
Yeah.
She's got these
it's like a bat creature.
Bulging eyes, kind of weird thing. Anyhow, she's giving birth, and I'm giving all this credit to these special effects and makeup, and that's the one thing in this movie, this chick, that looks completely insane and just, I don't even know, dude, fake as hell. But a second later, they hold up this baby and it's got like black eyes, and it kind of, you can see it has like hooves and shit. And dude, it looks really good in terms of being, you know, special effects and having these like black eyes. Really cool. But
I don't even think that woman, creature, whatever it was, giving birth, I don't even think it was a real actress.
That's what I'm saying. I think that they had some, exactly. It was some kind of machine moving with animatronics, whatever. And it's like, okay, why would you just not have a normal person? It would have definitely read way better on screen.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. Then you cut to this table scene, right? Where they're all eating dinner. This is what I was referencing earlier. You can actually see the tension between Brando and Kilmer. Mm-hmm. If you go back and watch this movie again, because it's only an hour and a half, and just watch any scene where Kilmer and Brando are in the same scene together. Dude, where later in the movie, he shows them the DNA. Like, they don't even look at each other. This dinner scene, he's like, who gave him the order to kill an animal? And he's like, oh, it was Montgomery. He barely looks at him at the table. Montgomery's like still eating his dinner. It's pretty wild, dude. Like, you can feel the tension of what was going on. Cause this is just like an hour and a half of time. And then their scenes together, 5 minutes? But you can feel, dude, the tension. It's pretty wild. But given the backstory, I didn't really flesh it out, but apparently these two would have like these standoffs in their trailers. And it's like the one wouldn't come out until the other did. So they were telling the PAs, the production assistants, yeah, I'm not coming out till Kilmer comes out. Well, did Brando come out? No, I'm not coming out until he comes out. So
yeah,
makeup was getting done at like 4 a.m., right? And this is in Australia in like the crazy 100-degree heat. And these poor extras are just out there sweating their ass off in these, like, in 100 degrees with these costumes on with like real fur. And these two assholes are just in their trailers having a standoff. It's like, you would think that like Frankenheimer would come in at this point and like just start to like lay down the law. But it's just so insane to think about. I've been on crazy sets. Nothing that would even come close to that. I would just walk off the set. It would just be that. You'd have to.
Again, like we have to sing the praises of the absolute consummate professional who just sits through this and just is a
This is it.
actor.
Yes. Thewlis. It's just, dude, he broke his leg on this, apparently, from what I read. He broke his leg on this shoot. And he was there for, I think, 4 to 5 months. He did. He's gone on record saying that he wants to tell the entire story of what happened, but he was scared he wouldn't get casted again because it's kind of like an unspoken
I can
thing
see that.
you're not allowed to talk about because on the set. But
You're right. Like I would love his perspective because he's not in that documentary.
No, right, exactly.
You know,
but saying how bad I felt for the extras, apparently they really didn't care because they were just excited to be on this set. It was all just like local people. And they would just end up getting shit-faced every night and they would actually camp out in the woods near the set and just have like these orgies and get like drunk and messed up on drugs. So it's like, add that to this whole insanity of what's going on. It's like, this just wouldn't fly today on a set. It just goes to show you.
Imagine how pissed they're getting, you know?
Yeah. But then you have that coupled with then when they get cut for the day, they're just going completely insane. So imagine,
just rage.
Dude, imagine, I know how you've told me before how you have like crazy hangovers. Imagine being hungover wearing one of these suits in like 100-degree heat. Yeah.
Like it'd be unbearable. It'd be so crazy. And then they just, they bear through it. And then that night they're like, that was stressful. Let me get liquored up again.
Have some orgies, do the dance. Like, it's just crazy to me. Cut to the scene where Lo-Mai goes after Moreau. Okay, that's like the creature you're talking about, the leopard-looking dude or whatever. And he gets shot by Azazello, which is the dude with the tux, the very comfy gentleman with the tux. So they look over at Montgomery. This is where let's talk about this strip for a second because they look over at Montgomery, kind of blaming him. Dude, this outfit that he's rocking. It's like this oversized short sleeve flannel, but more importantly, he has headphones around his neck. He's got a pair of aviator sunglasses on his head, like on his hair. And then he's got a pair of white Oakley sunglasses hanging around his neck. What?
Dude, it was a vibe, dude. Like this dude is an absolute vibe in this movie, Montgomery.
Such a good
Val Kilmer at the height of think about this. Val Kilmer at the height of his powers, right? He's just like, you know what? I'm kind of busy. I want to work a lot less on this movie. So, if you could make that happen. And then he just comes off just looking super cool whenever you see him.
Yeah. So that's like an FU and it's just like, wow, he looks even cooler. So basically what I'm getting at is I'm assuming that he just had carte blanche when it comes to wardrobe on his scenes. And maybe I'm wrong, but for argument's sake, it's just like this guy ends up making his own decisions every scene. He looks completely insane. It's just like he gets over.
Yeah. I mean, you argue enough, they're going to eventually just be like, all right, listen, we just have to get this movie done. Wear whatever you want on set.
Dude, I love it. But then, I had mentioned about Brando wearing this like bucket thing on his head. And then she's like putting ice on it. That's what I was referencing when I said about how he wants to take the bucket off and it reveals that he's a dolphin. Like that was his proposal to wear the bucket hat the entire movie.
it's so funny though, because let's assume that like at that point in the movie, he's like integrating these ideas in his head into it, and it's getting in the movie. That whole thing where she's dumping ice on his head is completely unexplained.
Right.
It's just he's going like, oh, it's so hot in here.
Yeah.
And she just dumps ice on his head. And we're just watching this kind of like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. These guys hot or whatever. There's this whole greater thing that he's attempting to integrate into the movie that doesn't make it.
He's got enough.
But there's some parts of it.
He's got some power, but he doesn't have enough power to get that whole character completely changed. It's so good.
But that's how just ridiculous this movie is. Like some of these ideas are getting in. Some of the stuff that this crazy stuff they come up with is getting in the movie.
Oh yeah, so good.
Yeah, one of the things that I liked, they're having the creatures are having a funeral for Dr. Moreau, and it cuts towards Edward, and he has this exasperated look where he's like rubbing his eyes, like I'm like, is this actually him acting or is this real life?
That's just
where he is just so frustrated
legit
with this nonsense that they managed to catch a legit reaction from him where he's just so like pissed.
I mean,
did you catch that at all?
Yeah, I did. It was definitely, they called action, but you can definitely feel, like I said about the other scenes with Kilmer and Brando, it's like this is real, like, energy that this guy has.
Yeah.
Like, again, dude, can't speak enough about this guy and like what he went through, and just handled it like an absolute boss. Because I will say, man, I've been on sets, and you've been on sets before, and it's like, I've been around those people who bitch and moan, and it's like they expect to have the most, and I'm talking, dude, people who it is not bad at all, and they're complaining like, oh, when are we done? Like, man, this is just like a rough day. It's like, this is what you signed up for, dude. You know?
Yeah.
And it's even for this dude, it's like on a much larger scale, breaking your leg, doing 4 months, dealing with all this absolute debauchery. But I will say, man, you handle it. You always just have to handle it like a champion, get through it. It sucks, but this guy, kudos to him for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But like immediately after they're having this funeral, he goes up to Moreau's daughter, who's kind of like this half cat woman, but she doesn't look like a hybrid creature like the rest of them. And I'm like, why does Edward care about anything that's going on? How many days is he there for? A day or two? And all this nonsense is taking place. Why does he care about any of it?
Well,
right? I'm like, I don't know their motivation.
It did say, listen to me back in this movie. It does say that he's a vegetarian, and that's why they didn't want the meat at the table. He does care about the animals,
right? And then he goes over and consoles this woman. I'm like, I guess he's just like a nice guy,
yeah,
or whatever. But at this point, like, dude, I'd be a little bit overwhelmed with everything that's going on. Like, just get me out of here. Just get me the hell out of here, please. Like,
and again,
I got creatures running around. I got murders taking place.
Melee or whatever the name is tries to get him out, and he's like, "I think I got the radio working." And then Val Kilmer comes like, "Not without this." He's like, "Who are you gonna call anyway?" So it's like he's not getting off the island, dude.
Right,
simple as.
And then it does. Like, I love how they try and work in this love story into this.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, bro,
you're the only good thing he made.
Right. I'm like, dude, are you trying to bang this hybrid creature here? Okay. I'm getting that.
Never
okay.
Good. Never good.
I'll believe that.
Never good.
Think about, Dr. Moreau dies, and considering the difficulty that Brando and Kilmer had on this movie, the animosity towards each other, it must make the final scene where Montgomery starts impersonating Moreau,
dude, yes,
all the more insane.
There's 2 scenes where Douglas sees him and he has the microphone, and then the actual last one where he gets killed. But yes, sorry to cut you off, but that's 100%, dude. He's
like, you can imagine him just having a ball with that, considering the circumstances.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, he stuffs like shirts in his like white shirt to have like a little belly too, just to kind of get over on it. It's so good.
And like, to the point we were making earlier, where it's this movie's kind of rushed and everything. It's not, they don't flesh out any of these characters, right? There's just people dying all over the place. And you're like, whoa, that guy died. Whoa, that just no kind of fanfare whatsoever. It's unbelievable. Like Montgomery comes out impersonating Moreau, right?
Right.
Cracked out on every drug. He's got a cross on his head for some reason.
Yeah, it's wild, dude.
Dude just comes up and shoots him. The dog dude that was wearing a suit and everything. Ironically, the guy who's wearing this suit, who speaks very eloquently, is the most violent one of them, and just
because he was like
shoots Montgomery.
Harbored up his whole life as Moreau's son, right?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, man, that's what I love about this movie. It's like super primal. When he shoots the gun off, the one with the suit, you're saying Azazello, and he's like, "I had the fire that kills." It's like now he has the upper hand, and like these primates are now trying to outsmart him. Like they're evolving. Listen to me backing this movie up. They're evolving in real time, right? Of this, that's what they're, again, you're trying to accomplish it in an hour and a half, but it's like there are some pretty cool things, like talking about God at the end there. It's like they're going for it.
There was this whole subplot of this serum that Moreau was giving these people so they wouldn't regress into their animal nature,
right?
And I'm like that's not even fully explained. Like, where was that thing going? And then all these guys just become super violent. And you're like, they're not really human. They're kind of just animals.
Yeah. Well, speaking of all these guns popping off, can I get a loadout check? I mean, I think we've gotten a loadout check for pretty much every movie so far. I saw 2 flare guns in this film, and I'm pretty sure that was a AK-47 that Hyena-Swine was shooting. Correct on that?
Yeah.
Not that they were going for some crazy like niche guns for this, but
it's just I think it was a Chinese AK, a Norinco Type 56. Are you familiar? Are you that?
No.
Just are you that into guns where you know specific AK? But yeah, like most in movies, like most AKs are not AK-47s.
Okay.
They're usually like Chinese versions or the AKM, which came after the AK-47, which is like a more economical gun. But the gun that got me was Montgomery. But this is actually completely insane. He brings Everett on the island. Montgomery then tries to kill him almost immediately, pulls a gun on him. And it's kind of a rad gun. It's a Beretta 92 Inox.
I think I know
the chrome version.
Yeah.
But then, what is the explanation there? He then tries to kill the guy. Like, he's going to shoot him. Well, didn't you just save his life? What's going on there? And then Dr. Moreau says, give him the gun.
Yeah.
And Montgomery gives him the gun. Like, what was the purpose of all that? I don't know.
To kind of train him on how to do things on this island, what they're going for. I'll back this one tooth and nail, bro. It was like Moreau wanted him to feel safe or something. Yeah.
Immediately he just turns around. It's like, get back!
Get back!
I'm like, dude, why did you give him this gun? What was it? I didn't get that whole thing. But anyway, that was like I'm a Beretta guy, folks. So
fair enough.
The Beretta 92 Inox. Powerful.
Speaking of Hyena-Swine, okay, that you know which character that is, like the kind of the main guy.
Yeah.
The actor who played him was Daniel Rigney. Apparently, was a up and coming Australian actor. He died in 1997 from a brain hemorrhage, which is like the next year, right?
Yeah.
I just pointed out that this was, I think, the most memorable character. Not the most behind like a Montgomery or something, obviously Moreau, but of all the sub characters, this guy just was awesome. Like his portrayal of this gait that he has, and he does these like crazy head movements, which kind of cracked out. It just, for me, it makes it super memorable. Watching it back, it's like, oh, I remember this character.
Well, it's funny in the documentary, they bring that up a little bit. They have an animal like trainer guy to come on and talk to these extras on how to move as an animal.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he specifically mentioned this guy and his hyena-like gait with the head kind of like having a hunchback and everything.
Very well done.
So it was kind of interesting where it was like, that's based. They're trying to actually base these guys in real life. That's the level of preparation that they did for this movie. Is they brought like guys like that on who just study animal movement.
This was like, again, I'll say it again. This is 4 years of prep, and this is this guy's baby. So when you're like, think about Ryan when he talks to us about movies. It's like he's thinking of every nook and cranny of it. It's just these guys are like married to these things. So another thing too is this is what I was referencing about the God thing is like, Hyena-Swine is now realizing when he has control of the situation that he can be God, right? But then Douglas is like, there can only be one true God. So he comes to this realization in real time and he's like, could it be him? Could it be him? So then he turns around and starts shooting his own crew, right? And then, dude, listen to me, like trying to back this movie up. So then he comes to this realization, right? And they start shooting back. And there's I don't even know what the hell this was. Someone had like a face cover, like one of those face shield things that shoots back at him. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he gets hit, realizing he's getting overpowered because they're all fighting back. At this point, the hut is ablaze and he just walks into it because he knows that he has no other choice but to sacrifice himself. This is some like true deeper meanings of this movie I don't think you can appreciate. But again, you're trying to stuff this into an hour and a half. I'm just saying I can appreciate like where they're going with this.
Well, it's even worse than that. Everything you just mentioned, they stuffed into like a minute of screen time where the guy's like whispering, "There can only be one God," and the dude like he's like, "Huh?" and like turns around and shoots his own guys.
He says, "Could it be him? Could it be him?" All I'm saying is impressive to get it done in that amount of screen time. Okay, that's all I'm saying. And then we hit with the last scene where Douglas is making his boat. He says, "I'm going to send people back. They're going to come back for you." And he's talking to this character, Sayer the Law. Okay. This is the guy who looks like he has cataracts the whole movie. This is played by Ron Perlman. Okay. I have to ask, is Ron Perlman even wearing a mask here? It's hard to tell.
Wow, folks. Wow. Look, we're going to be known for one thing, and it's just clowning on Ron Perlman.
I mean, look at the guy.
He does have a distinctive face. I will say that he looks like, dude. I don't even want to say it. He looks like Bigfoot, I guess, but
he definitely fits the role for this movie. I will say that. Anyhow, that's your movie. I mean, love it, hate it. I don't know what to tell you. What's your Kino rating, sir?
Okay, I give this movie a 5 because I don't think that the movie is actually good.
Wow, folks.
And what I mean by that is like the story is not doing it for me. Everything seems rushed. As a final, like the final product is a result of everything being rushed by the studio to get all this done and corral these maniacs into just getting the film done so they don't lose millions of dollars. Okay. That being said, the documentary Lost Soul is like a 10 out of 10. Okay. If you watch the documentary, it will make watching this movie, the experience of it, way better. The documentary is incredible.
That much I will give you.
The movie starts to make way more sense once you realize everything that happened.
Okay. I, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more optimistic. I give this a 7.3. Okay. A high 7.3. And probably because of the nostalgia of it for me. Again, what I said at the beginning, it's not in the so bad it's good category like something like The Room. But I don't know. I love this movie. And at the end of the day, I'll say it again, kudos to David Thewlis for handling the insanity and calamity of the set. And dude, this is like, I believe 4 to 6 months of his life. You can definitely squeeze in 2 movies, easily in that amount of time. And if you're Eric Roberts, I mean, you can probably fit in like 60 movies in that amount of time or 80 movies in that amount of time. But hey, who's counting? But at the end of the day, man, kudos to him being a boss, giving out a damn good performance. Respect.
There you have it, folks. Next week on the show, we will be covering Good Will Hunting. Now, get ready for some Boston accents,
Oh boy,
folks.
Jesus!
How about them apples?
All right,
There you have it, folks.
Get you in the next one.